Well, I'm pleased to announce that I've just got my new coil. It's a double coil pack made for Subaru. It's a wasted coil system, so the coil fires out one end and in the other end basically, and the cylinder that's under compression takes the most load. The one that's on exhaust stroke, just basically it's wasted spark. Got the two of them connected up at the back here, these wires here, the two reds together, the two yellows together, so that they both fire at the same time. And I'm just going to do some tests now. If we plug in my, we'll call them my HT leads. It's got a slight gap over here, close to 1 centimeter. Not the most scientific experiment, but anyway. Now I take my camera flash, which in my previous videos I've explained. I've got two wires coming from the capacitor, one from the capacitor and then one to the electronics, the flash tube, so that when the flash fires, the current that goes through the tube also goes through these two wires. And in this case, I'm going to join them to the coil. So now, as the flash fires, all the current flowing through the tube also goes through this ignition coil. I'm not sure what the voltage drop is. The flash capacitor is probably about 250 volts, and it shares some of that voltage with the coil as it goes through. Now I'll just turn it on and fire a test shot. See if you see anything. It's ready to fire. Hit the test button and we've got a spark. Not sure if we got something here. Gap might be a bit big, but now I can connect my camera, and when I take a photo, the flash fires, I can capture that spark. I'm at 1/4000th of a second, and this is a CCD sensor, so the whole sensor switches. I've got a photo there of both sparks going off, and that's at 1/4000th of a second. And now we want to see if I can double that spark. So what I'm going to do, I'll disconnect this first, so it hurts a bit when this thing goes off when I'm touching it. I'm going to take these out. In the initial experiment, I made an assumption that both spark voltages fire out in the same direction and come back in the same direction. So let's say the spark's coming in here, firing out there. I capture that spark at this end and I put it into this coil. So now we're doubling the spark. We're going to measure over here, and we should have twice the voltage we had before, which should have been somewhere around 30,000 volts at least. Right, now I can bring these two sparks together. We should be able to get about a 2 centimeter spark out of this. And I'll just fire it up and do a test shot. And we've got our spark. So that's quite a healthy spark there. I'll see if I can photograph it. At 1/4000th of a second. And yep, there I have a spark, decent sized spark at 1/4000th of a second. So now we can go and try it on something a little bit more creative, like water drops or something like that. Right, what I've got here is one of these little fountain fogger things, and I've modified this plastic dish to hold my leads, and we're just going to see what kind of photos we can get with a bit of mist and 50,000 or 60,000 volts. Yes, there we go. So I'll just move it a bit closer together, hope it doesn't go off. Get a bit more fog going. Let's get rid of the fog. Just put in a USB fountain. It's interesting. This water is conducting quite a bit. Must have a lot of impurities in it. Yeah, that's looking good. Get closer. I'm bringing my ISO down to 200. I'm using this light a little bit more to light my images. Yeah, not bad. Oh, too much. Yeah, it's okay.